if you wanted to say something to a newcomer or someone that's thinking about, like, hey, maybe I have a problem, maybe
Yeah.
I want to do something different,
hmm
what would you want to say to them?
First thing I would say is you're not alone. That's the biggest thing because
Yeah.
I know when I first came in, my first meeting, I didn't have a car because I had 3 DUIs, so I had my license suspended, and so the meeting I was going to go to, my sponsor said, "Hey, there's a meeting by your house, easy to walk to. It's at this church at this time, Sunday night. Be there." And I'm like, "Oh shit, okay, I'll be there." Well, he didn't go, but he thought if he put that in me, that fear in me, like I have to go because if he doesn't see me there, that type of thing. But
Yeah.
so I went there, and I went to the wrong meeting. So I went to an Al-Anon meeting
Oh, no.
that I thought was an AA meeting because I've never been to any meetings before, and this was a pretty intense one to where they were crying and all these stories, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So then I called my sponsor, and I'm like, man, I don't know about that meeting, and I told him about it. He goes, man, you're in the wrong meeting. So I laughed about it, and so then as a newcomer at that time, I felt like, okay, someone has done this before. I'm not the first one to do this. So that lifted the ease of that. And then I met fantastic people that said the same thing to me. Man, just keep coming. You're not alone. You always have help. Just keep coming or just keep in touch, with the people you need to keep in touch with. So be willing to take suggestions too,
Yeah,
because
that's a
I
good
was
one.
like out of pride or out of fear or just out of like, I can't come back for this. What, you're an idiot. Why did you let this happen yourself? I just blocked everyone off and just thinking my way was going to be the right way, and I'm going to do it, and I'll do it the way I want to do it. Well, that ended up 3 more times in rehab.
Yeah.
So I had to get over the like when people tell me their own experiences, they're not ordering me to do anything. They're just offering me how they found hope and what they did to get to where they are now. Because that's all I wanted. Like I would see people, I'm like, man, that guy, his story is so crazy, and he's got a family and he's got this great business. He drives this great car, and he just looks happy. How can I get some of that?
Yeah.
That's what it was. And
The
once
white
I
picket
got over that
fence.
fear, and I had to be honest with myself too. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I had to be honest with myself that you are an alcoholic. As in meetings, that's the first thing they ask you, or first thing you say, I'm Kyle and I'm an alcoholic. And I had to come to that term to really get that train in motion. And I think there's a lot of newcomers that are scared to say that, or they don't believe it yet. And I'm like, well, just think about it. And you came to, or you're asking me about it, so you must have some doubt in your head
Yeah.
about it. So, don't take those too lightheartedly. That means something. If your body and your mind's telling you that, then there's something there.
Yeah. Definitely take a look at it.
Yeah. But, just keep in the program or just whatever program you have. Just don't shy away from that.
Yeah.
Because that's where I got into my trouble. After my first stint, I was 8 years sober and I was going great. I was working at a restaurant and I just thought, man, I really miss the taste of bourbon. I did really like that flavor. And I'm like, just maybe just a little bit in a glass and I just kind of sip on all day, just to get that flavor. That won't hurt. And that's how it started.
Yeah. Right.
And then it went to, man, that's a good one. I'm going to try this one. But, I had to do it because of my job.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work.
The
Yeah.
justification.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, I did everything like that to where my last go around, I thought just drinking wine would be better than the hard stuff. But when you're drinking 2 bottles of wine a night, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I
So
think they
your
said
mind
just
tricks you into different ways that it's going to be okay. And, that's why I try to help with people I know that asked me, I'm like, well, if you're doing these little things like I did, maybe you need to look at it more deeply.
Yeah, that and that big book, when I first started to read it, like really read it, because I could go through and trick everyone. I
Oh
could
yeah,
speed read
sure,
and
yeah,
say I've got the, but when I really read that thing to say, hey, to identify that I'm an alcoholic,
hmm
man, every page it was me.
yeah,
I was like, I did that.
I know,
I've done that. And I mean, it just kept going and going. And by the time I got to the end of the book, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm an
yeah,
alcoholic. And suggestions are so hard to take.
they're very hard,
And
especially if you know they're right.
yeah, especially, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to take a suggestion. And, but I think that when I started to realize that I was hurting people,
Yes,
and I was trying to convince myself that my actions are not hurting anyone, they're just hurting me.
hmm
And after I got honest with myself, like, and said, hey, I'm an alcoholic, I have these problems, and I don't know why. I don't know why I do the things that I'm
right.
doing. I can't stop.
hmm
And
And that's such a powerless feeling.
yeah, powerlessness.
It's like you want to stop so bad, but if you do, everyone's gonna know.
Yeah.
And then where do you go from there?
You have to
Like
take
your
another
facade
drink
is,
to make it
yeah,
go away.
I know. And then just play that whole facade over again.
Yeah.
And I'm reading right now. I forgot who the author is, but it's called Writing the Big Book,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just about Bill Wilson's process of his thinking while he was writing it. And like you, like when I first started reading, we had to if you were in rehab or big book studies and all that. I just wanted to be the best at knowing the catchphrases, and big like be that guy who knew everything, but I wasn't reading it. I was just going through it and like, oh, that's important because they keep talking about this in the meetings, so I need to know what that means. So I'll be the best sponsor in the world, because I'll tell everyone this is the way you need to do it. And well, I lost like 3 sponsors doing that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're like, don't tell me, tell me if that makes sense. Like, don't just read out of the book. I could do that, but tell me how this impacted you and how it made you feel. So I had to reread the whole big book in Mayfield. I did, and I swear, I'm like, what is this book?
Yeah,
I've
right.
never read it like this before. So in reading the book I'm reading now, it tells about how he went through that, and it's just fascinating.
Page 30, man, takes me home.
Oh yeah,
I I use page 30 on a daily basis.
yeah,
That incomprehensible demoralization.
yes.
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
want that again.
yeah, exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
want it.
And that's when I start working with somebody deeper, that's what I'll go through. Is like, this is stuff I'd never wanted to feel again in my life, and I finally got to the point to where that tastes like vodka to me. Just thinking about it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, morbid reflection.
Yeah.
I mean, I can drift off into the morbid reflection
hmm
sometimes if I'm not doing that morning routine, that 10-step inventory. And then I catch myself drifting off into that morbid reflection. But 2 weeks ago, we were doing that remodel in Lexington.
hmm
I found a full bottle of Oxycontin 80s
Wow.
from 2015.
Wow.
And I was with Scott,
Uh-huh.
and like I saw a pill bottle. So I go to grab it, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
Like
how'd that make
a
you
whole
feel?
entire, I mean, it absolutely, I'm not going to get high.
Yeah.
Or use. I'm not going to take a drink today. I could feel the spirit. You could cut it with a knife. And, there's confirmation of just where I felt anger about the whole situation,
Mhm.
not about finding Oxycontins from 2015 in a full bottle, but like just me being the one that found them. And, I started how many empty bottles of Oxycontin are just laying around old
Right.
places for somebody to find?
Yeah.
And it just, reality kind of set in. And my life is not about those things. It's all about those things. It's
Exactly.
just not
Yeah. I
about,
know what you mean. Yeah.
it's not trying to, it used to be to get that next one, chase
Hmm.
the dragon,
Yeah.
right? Or the whole, like, the morning ritual used to be that first fix.
Hmm.
As soon as my eyes would
Yeah.
open, it's like, if it
Exactly.
was vodka at the time, see, my drug of choice could be whatever I make it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the lesser of the evils, a lot of people say. And that experience was a spiritual experience. And I looked up, and my partner was right there with me, and he was blown away.
Oh
He's like, man,
yeah.
I can't believe that this is happening.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe you just found that. And I was like, just go throw him in the creek.
Yeah.
But 14 years ago, it would not have been that way.
Yeah. When do you think you turned in your mind shift?
Yeah, so 5 years into recovery, like, abstinent, nothing,
Yeah.
and still to this day, like, I might use an Advil or something if I have a headache,
Hmm.
but 5 years was really, I think that's when my brain completely had done biologically, spiritually, and my way of thinking had changed. And but it was about 5 years, I think, because until then there were still some moments and triggers that I really had to work a program. Like, some things happened,
Hmm.
and the thought crossed my mind, like, F it, hit the F it button, and
Hmm.
we're gonna rock and roll.
Yeah.
But luckily, you know, God had some agents around me during
Hmm.
those times, and it's all about that choice. And it's such a fine line
It's a
in
very
that
fine line.
choice.
Yeah.
But I have that power. If I make that choice today, all the power's gone.
Yeah.
Because when I was in addiction, I had no power of choice. The substance was my solution.
Yeah. I was in Florida with my family for the past 10 days, and a bunch of us down there, and things were getting stressful just, being around the same people for 10 days.
Oh yeah, my family still stresses me out.
And I was doing work stuff, and my stepfather's in real estate as well, so he is doing his thing, but we were kind of working on some things together, so things were getting kind of stressed out from other people. And then, for some time we just need to get away from each other, for one. But two, it's like, I know that place, their house down in Florida, is where, like, I would drink all the time without them knowing,
Yeah,
because I would wake up at night and sneak in and get some of the tequila out of their liquor cabinet and pour like a little glass and sit it at my nightstand and just go in my room like during the day and just drink on that. So I had a plan. So I was in the same environment.
yeah,
The same things were happening. My mind could have gone straight back and just been like, well, F it, I'll do the same thing. But for some reason it didn't this time. I thought about it, but it wasn't a thought of, man, I could really go for that bourbon or that tequila. My thought was, why aren't you going for that?
got to play that tape
It was
out.
a mind shift.
Yeah,
And then my thought would go, what would be your first feeling after that liquor hits your tongue? You would have done all this work for nothing.
guilt, shame, and
Yeah.
remorse.
Yeah, but it was the guilt, shame, and remorse of not after the drink of what did I do this again? It was before the drink this time
Oh,
of saying,
yeah, that you
you
thought
better
about.
not. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because what's going to happen to you after you take that first drink, you're right back to where you started.
yeah.
And I didn't want that to happen. So it's like, that is, I guess,
That's the power of choice.
but yeah. Uh-huh. And
That's
it's
what it
finally,
is.
it's taken me this long for whatever reason, and that's fine. God had his plan for me to go through this to get to where I am.
Yeah,
So that's where the spiritual connection is now finally hitting me all at once. And like down in Florida, I would just walk around, and instead of thinking, all right, what do I need to do tonight to make sure I have enough booze in my room? And how am I going to sneak that for my parents not to see? And I'm a 54-year-old man,
Yeah.
saying all this. And, oh shit. So what am I going to do with the bottles after? I can't put them in the trash here because they're going to see all this work. So I just went outside this time and I just looked at the sky and it was beautiful. And I'm like, this is what I've been missing this whole time.
Yeah.
Just approaching every day, just looking at things and just realizing you're here and not thinking about how am I going to get till tomorrow or to tomorrow, you know?
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's just, I just think it's, my higher power. I know it's my higher power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're planning a men's retreat?
I am, yeah. I was involved in a women's retreat because I'm a private chef as well.
Okay.
So I was asked to cook at this women's retreat in June, May or June, and wonderful place. It's this old farm, this farmhouse. There's I don't know, what's 20 acres or so.
Yeah, the women's retreat that Miss
Yeah, the
Katie.
Grigsby's
Okay,
farm.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's like 20
yeah,
acres with the
yeah.
log
Cattle
cabin.
farm. Yes.
Yeah.
Old. Well, it's a restored log cabin that's beautiful, and Mr. Grigsby, who owns it, he's a minister, and he helps people in addiction and vets and things like that. So he was part of the idea was from him to have retreats there. So I really love what the women were doing, and I was just there cooking, but I would overhear what they were doing and the talks, and I'm like, man, I need to see if I could do a men's retreat. Now I've always kind of had the idea of doing something like that, but I'm like, what do we do? Like it's totally different from a women's retreat, or in my eyes, it is. Now maybe it's not. Like I don't see guys as like just doing what we're doing like for 2 days, and add some more activities. There's a lake out there, so I want to come up with subjects to where it's could help people really get out of their shell, like we're talking now, and just subjects of anything like that we struggle with. Like it could be marital, it could be family, it could be just living day by day.
I think our attraction, not promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of guys are not going to want to sit down and talk about their feelings.
I know. Yeah.
And their emotions.
Yeah, but then there might be some people who are like, I never thought I would do that, but I did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And it goes to 99% of the people in my circle right now, they're not in recovery.
Right.
They're good people.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see this program taught me life on life's terms. Mm-hmm. And other people had maybe not the same vices and struggles, but they still have struggles with no program that we have.
Yeah.
And I've always struggled with how do we dissect that down, because the program helps people in all walks of life and anything.
I was going to bring that up, that book it's a program for living.
Yeah.
And you could just, replace words, replace the gin with stress or job or whatever.
Food.
Yeah. Family, and it all just still makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about what that book or whatever kind of spiritual or life guide, I guess you can say, you want to live by. It's just, really embrace it and learn. And then in turn, it makes you learn about yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited about the men's retreat. I want to be part of that.
Yeah,
and try
definitely.
to help get that thing out of the ground.
Yeah,
too.
I think it could be a good sounding board for people that don't, usually have that around them. And I learned it just from going to meetings, because I never was that person, until I was.
Yeah, until you are.
Yeah,
I never was an alcoholic until I was.
Right. Yeah. But I just see that, that's what gets me up in the morning, is just thinking about things like that instead of dreading what might happen in the future. Like, oh, how am I going to pay my mortgage next week or next month, or, well, what happens if I don't get this listing? I'm going to run out of money in 3 months. Now it's like, how can I set this men's retreat up in 2 months to where it's going to be an awesome thing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And give back.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. And that could just be, going out for a jog or swimming, 10 laps, that you didn't do the day before, or something you always did and you finally did it. It's just little victories like that.
Yeah.
Help me stay sober.
Well, I'm super grateful to be alive and clean and sober.
Yeah.
And my mom didn't lose any sleep over me last night.
I know, me too. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want
I
to
think
talk?
we covered a lot there, my
I
friend.
think that it was pretty good, really. You think
And
it was good?
that was great to get out of all these things I've been thinking. That's
Yeah.
that's the name of the game.
Did you have like some fear and anxiety about coming and doing the podcast?
It was not a fear. It was more like you can do it type of deal.
Yeah.
And like I just get anxiety all the time. That's normal. But it was like an excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to say, okay, I'm going to go talk on
Right,
camera
yeah.
and a podcast about being afraid of anything or telling my story. And
Yeah, but don't you feel good now?
I do. And I think that it is a purpose, like to get it out there,
Yeah.
especially in today's technology world.
Oh yeah, it's so easy.
It's definitely easier to plant the seeds in the technology than it is like the one-on-one interaction, like the men's retreat.
Yeah.
Those are powerful experiences. But today with technology, it has to be done. People have to start speaking on it and putting it out there, because there's energies on the other side that are putting out so many negative
I know.
things
Right.
that it's just some people, we have to do what we're doing and
this
get
thing,
it out there.
yeah.
The phone.
And it's like I spend more time on this trying to learn about podcasts like this and explore, to come up with just like one idea, for the day, instead of scrolling through and seeing all the bad things in the world or trying to compare yourself to other people on Facebook,
Yeah.
And I was doing that for a while.
Yeah, the phone is a huge part. Like that's something that I had to take out of my life first thing in the morning, because I was getting up and I'm getting on that phone first thing. Like I'm not saying, hey, I'm grateful to wake up. I had to readjust some morning. Like I had to get up and get on my knees and put my phone in the drawer.
Yeah.
So that I could. It took me a while and I didn't realize it, but as soon as I got up and I'm on that phone, now I've got all the world is coming in there.
Exactly.
And so that's been a big part. And that's recently, like the last 4 months. And so when I started taking that phone as soon as my eyes would wake up, I'm on the phone, I'm on screen time. Like it gave me that breath. It let me start to, to plan out my day, or just to get the gratitude.
Yeah.
And that gratitude is a huge part of my recovery. It's a huge part of my day-to-day life. And that phone took it away from me a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the gratitude that's number one motivator for me, and just number one peace of mind.
Yeah.
Just seeing, my friends happy, my family happy, and just getting to do the things I can do sober is just a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come and.
Well, man, thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been awesome.